I noticed in the notes today for Pushpa's speech, it actually says this is a keynote speech. So I thought for
Oh, is it?
yeah, on the research speech here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a keynote style
Oh, you watched
speech.
this. Okay.
Yeah, I thought, wow, Toastmasters doing a keynote style speech for keynoters.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? So I thought, for the today, for facilitation, I thought, why don't we look at, say, 3 different areas of actually being the keynote speech and the positives of that, the research point of view, which is what the speech is about, and maybe some considerations which might be things that Pushpa could look at in the future,
Yeah.
points of improvement or what
Yeah,
for
sure.
us. So in terms of the keynote speech, in terms of the speech itself, the structure, the value we got out of it, would anyone like to comment on that? Because personally for me, I love Pushpa's enthusiasm. She has this natural enthusiasm coming out of it, and a real passion for her cooking and for her culture and for the topic itself. And that to me brought a lot of credibility, which then I thought, wow, that's awesome. I can see that Pushpa believes in it, therefore, to me, it's a value to it straight away. Even though I thought of a chili man and go, oh, I don't think so then. I don't think so there. In terms of a keynote speech, would we comment on that further? What other good points were there from the speech?
It certainly had the structure of
It did, had the structure.
beginning, middle, and end. So, for the first, 5 or so % of your speech, you gave us an overview of where you were going, and then the bulk of it was obviously the research that you've done, well summarised, and then the final 5 or so % was a good wrap-up.
Yeah, structure-wise, it was very nice. I want to agree with you, is you made it personable. As you said, spices, but maybe not for everyone. And you made it collective, very personal, so we could understand your passion and go, I want to go try it for that reason as well now. So that was a great bridge.
Yes, thank you.
And there's actually some really clever use of humour in there.
Yes.
Some use of personal stories and some very clever puns as well. But one thing I picked up, I didn't pick up to the end of it at all, was, and I wish I had picked up earlier, that spice equals diversity. I wrote this down. I wrote spice equals diversity, just like India as a nation. And to me, that was that clever message that Pushpa had throughout her entire speech. She bookended at the start by talking about the different geographies of India, but at the end of it, she summarised again by spices. I thought, how very clever. I don't even know Pushpa meant to do that. And she probably did. But I thought that was very, very clever. And then, of course, I realised the slides that, if you're talking about chili, the slides were in red, or coriander was in green. I didn't pick that up to the end as well. But just for a very subtle visual cue, it was there. So I thought, you didn't mention it, you didn't say it, but the audience could pick up as you went. So to me, that was like, well, I understand my audience is clever. I'm not going to have to start everything simply for them. And I thought that was well done also.
While you mentioned that, there was a great little fun cartoon graphic you had on the chili.
Chili.
Yeah, with Beavis and Butthead cartoon.
Yeah.
And just have to go, yeah. It was a fun underline. Yeah.
Well, I want to get to that in a minute. Actually, I meant to mention Beavis and Butthead. That actually was going to be one of my considerations. Was that picture too small? Or was that slide maybe too cluttered?
Right.
It had 3 pictures on it. Would it be better to have maybe one heading slide with chili and then one with Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah.
Or just the Beavis and Butthead picture on there. So just because to me it had 3 pictures and I was like, oh, where am I looking here? And it was a very cluttered slide.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. I would take that a tad further, and I think a lot of people do get hung up with the number of slides in a presentation.
Oh, right.
And you will hear all kinds of statistics. You're speaking for 10 minutes, you shouldn't have more than 5 slides. I'm making that particular one up, but we could probably find almost every number for a 10-minute speech. You should only have 1 slide, you should have at least 50 slides and everything in between. I am very, very keen that just ignore the number of slides. If you've got valuable information in the picture, in the map of India, in the Butthead cartoon, use them and give them the space that they need. I see a number of people cramming things onto a slide and then talking forever and a day, and this little bit and this little bit and this little bit. It would be way better if you've got that much material and you've got 3 graphics that support your material.
Okay.
Use, and I'm now going to use a number, but use the 3 slides and go through them. If you've then got too much material for your time, then you look at culling and maybe some of the slides go. But you can't cull just by shoving. Doesn't work.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think
Got it. Yeah.
work the amount of slides to the time you give, and I think that's one of the big things is, you know, if you can say 20 minutes up how to speak, fill that time up, make it work and be fun and exciting and professional. And as Jill said, it doesn't matter how many slides you got, as long as it's there. But, you know, as you're crafting it down, then maybe cut a few out, you know,
Sure.
or hide them. And I often find that when I use PowerPoint is I have too many slides, I'll just hide them for that presentation so I don't use them. But maybe for a different presentation or a different day, I will pull them out.
Yep.
And I'll use them again,
Yeah.
depending on the audience as well.
Yeah.
And what they're doing.
That's actually a very, very important skill, and having different, say, case studies and so on, not relevant for what you're doing, but
But yeah,
pull them out as and when.
contextualising for the audience is the same.
Always.
And I get that, I get that. The reason why I went into so much detail because I thought my audience wouldn't know much of it. I didn't know so much of it.
You're
And I
correct.
thought
I
this-
knew nothing
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Someone so
Okay, I said
much.
this audience will not know anything, so I probably need to focus on.
The detail was good,
But too much.
but I think you probably could have got away with maybe half a dozen more slides. Same content,
Okay.
just splitting. So things like that early slide where you had an image and the map of India.
Yeah.
I think the map of India should have got a slide to
I was
itself.
going to say
Okay.
that as well.
Yeah.
Map,
Okay.
yeah, I would have liked to see the map of India
Yep.
on its own slides.
Yeah,
so I
okay,
could see the
okay.
quadrants.
Got it.
clearly.
Yeah.
And I think, so what you said was perfect. Just split that amount of material across 2 slides. You don't need to change the presentation per
Right.
se
Right.
at all.
Okay.
I thought Pushpa did very well with her research.
Yes.
And there's a lot of fact in there, there's a lot of information, but there's also a lot of personal experiences and it really brought her credibility up. So I think from a research point of view, well done. To me, I was like, okay, Pushpa knows this perfectly, I have to talk to her about this. It was like, she obviously understands it straight away. So from a keynote perspective, I was like, wow, Pushpa's got that straight away.
Thank
So
you.
well done.
Yeah.
Um,
Personal was important because mum contributes a lot to all of this. Thank you, mum.
I can tell that mum got mentioned a few
Yeah,
times.
because
Yeah.
she was the one who was responsible for all of this in my growing up years.
Well, that's what made it identifiable for each of us.
That's right.
Because our mom taught us something,
That's
and
right.
we're flashing back to it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You remind me of a friend I grew up with whose mother used to get the cream off the milk. She'd boil it
Yeah.
and put the cream in the Australian milk because she said the Australian milk wasn't fat enough.
Right.
Mind you, her son was 240 kilos. And he was still yeah. I remember because he broke my rib in football.
What?
The only game I could play. I got crash tackled by and that was it for me. He landed on me and broke a rib. I was like, damn. I get tackled by the largest child in the world. From a cultural awareness perspective as well, I think that was something that came out in the keynote side of research from a cultural awareness perspective. There was a lot of good value in the speech. So thank you for that, Pushpa. I think it's always very, very important.
It was lovely the way you wove the personal
Yeah.
stories. It would be very easy with this topic and almost any other topic that you choose for a research speech to make it terribly dry
Yeah, yeah.
and just going on and on and on about, you know, facts and I've read this and I've found that and this means. The way you interleaved those personal stories and kept it light completely avoided that. So it did draw us in. So yes, you've done a lot of research and yes, the research was good, but the personal stuff really added to it.
Yeah, that push that's from a research speech into a really amazing space. So
Thank you.
I love that as a thing.
Thank you.
In saying that though, there's 2 things I would really like Pushpa not to do in the future.
Yep.
Don't say sorry during a presentation. Don't say sorry.
No, I didn't spot that, but don't.
Ah, did I say sorry?
You said say sorry. You said, don't worry about it, just move on. We had a spelling mistake. You said sorry.
Oh, yeah.
It was such a small one. I actually didn't pick it up until you said it, because my eyes just saw Angie straight away.
Yeah.
They didn't even read it until you said it.
Thank you, yeah.
Oh, Pushpa. Now I see.
Now, if you're using those slides again, though, there's another typo.
There is?
Coriander.
Yeah.
There's one where you've got the heading of coriander, and then you've got the poster, the screenshot of the poster, and your coriander's got 2 R's, and the poster has 1.
Oh, does
So
it?
you
Yeah.
should be consistent.
Yeah.
And if you're using an image like that poster where you can't alter it,
Mm.
even if the image is wrong, adopt what the image has
Yes,
got,
yes,
so
got it.
you're
Yep.
consistent.
Yep. Thank you, got that. Thank you. I didn't even realize that,
No, we don't.
Antioxidant, I'm doing, what the earth was I thinking about?
Overall, I want to say thank you, Pushpa, for teaching us today about spices. To me, they were just flavours of their flavouring, but there's obviously more to them than that. And learn a culture such as the Indian culture obviously uses them for a very scientific and medical reason. And it's not just for spicing life
I
up.
know.
There's so much more. It's life itself.
Yeah, I was surprised when I was reading all this, and my God,
Yeah.
really?
Who knew? I'm going to be buying coriander very tomorrow, and that turmeric stuff might actually have to come in handy. And I don't know how it's going to go rubbing on my face, but I don't know, maybe, you never know. It might work. I'm not sure about that shoot and the other one though. But overall, thank you for today, Pushpa. Thank you for entertaining us. Thank you for informing us and educating us. A wonderful speech and a few small tweaks, and I
Yep.
think you can take that speech to an even better level than it is now. But I look forward to hearing that speech again somewhere else along the line.
Ooh,
You never know, it may be healthier then, but it may not be. And thank you, Gian, for describing so professionally and neatly today.
Yep.
And thank you for everyone for contributing to this evaluation. And look, all smile for you.